What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with the next episode of Educate and Dominate, that one-on-one interview series where we take some of the top names of the game and get their insights so we can bring your game to the next level. My next guest is one that's close to my heart. We got ourselves a member of the Epic Fail community, one of the top players on the arena and the Guild Wars side. We got ourselves Foi, doing it big as always. How we doing, sir?
Hello, what's up, guys? I'm doing pretty good.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah, doing really good.
thank you for coming on board. If you guys didn't know, Foi has recently started a Twitch streaming community out there on the Twitch TV. I think it's Twitch TV / Foi with an underscore. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna have that on board. I want to make sure that I get that right. But yeah, he's obviously been a big top player for quite some time, guys, and now he has the opportunity, just like we did with the previous episode with Noxir. He's really getting out there in the community and providing his insights. So we got a lot to talk about today. But before we get into that, why don't we discuss the Foi before he gets into Summoner's War? What got you into video gaming? Like, what got you started in video gaming, and then what made your way into Summoner's War?
Man, I've been playing games since I was a kid. I remember being like a 7-year-old. This is yeah, I was a 7-year-old that would wake up at 2, 3 in the morning to play some Super Mario's because I was just that crazy about video games. But yeah, I've been playing video games since forever, and let's see. Went to PlayStation, went to PCs, went to World of Warcraft, went to StarCraft, and
There you
then
go.
let's see, I played StarCraft for about 12 years of my life, and
Wow,
then
dude. That's
yeah,
good. I was
uh,
that was Quake for me. I did Quake for almost 6 or 7 years. I got right in there like around '99. I think it was '99 2000 when it started to blow up. So yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, that's the exact same time, and then let's see, Summoner's War. I had stopped playing video games for a while, and then let's see, and then I just one day picked it up, want to find a game that was fun on the phone because I didn't have a really good computer at that time too. So I just finally downloaded this game, played it, and just fell in love with it.
Yeah, and so that's kind of one of the things that most people don't realize. You actually kind of got started late into the game. What was it like the month and the year that you got going on?
I started in May of 2005. So
2015.
yeah, 2015.
Fair. That's all good.
Wow. Yep,
2005. I was like, damn,
2015.
I gotta get the alpha program for that one. But no, it's great because you got started, a lot later than most people. But you've done what you had to do to progress the way you have, and it's definitely shown your accounts, high up there, and you got your name out there as far as doing what you do for the. All right, so you got into your Summoners War. You get in there. You start progressing within the game. Now, as you get into the game, what was it that motivated you to like really take it to the next level as far as progression and whatnot?
I think I'm just like that with everything that I have ever done my whole life. Whenever I get into something and if I really like it, love it, then I'm gonna obsess about it and I'm gonna learn everything as much as I can, be the best I can at it. It's just a part of my nature, I guess. And when I played this game, this was one of the best games that I played in the longest time. So yeah, just because of all the customizations that you can do, and that's like what I like about games the most, just the thousands of different ways to build a certain monster, or just, and it really takes creativity to do a lot of it, and that's why I like this game so much, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And
But
go ahead. No, go ahead.
yeah, just part of my nature, I guess. That's to want to become the best.
You got to put it in. You got to get that working. Yeah. So, and that's the one thing that you guys will pick up, that I've learned over the course of my time with Foi in our guild. He definitely defines that concept of creativity. Really taken what CompTOS has given us and allowed himself to create a wide variety unit and rune builds in an effort to do what he wants to do as far as progressing in this game. We're definitely going to get into a lot of that midway through the video. But before we get into that, I kind of want to start off with one of your latest achievements out there. I got to give it out there. I don't know if I mentioned it to you earlier, but I did want to give you a congratulations. You know, we have quite the handful of people out there in the community that have been playing since the beginning of the game. If I recall, this is the one of the first times, if not the first time, that you've hit that number one rank on the Trial of Ascension, outbeating quite a few of the seasoned veterans when it comes to TOA speedruns.
All right, yeah, thank you. This is the first time that I got rank 1 on TOA, and I think that I could have done it in the past, but I didn't have the correct. No,
Like
that's not.
composition?
No, I just didn't try it. I just didn't try in the previous months because I would wake up too late, or I would just forget that it is TOA resets.
Sure.
Uh,
And I was gonna say you're with me on the global. We're actually the same time zone, so we're the motivation to stay up in the midnight 1 o'clock, and sit there and grind it for another 2 hours after being up all day working or whatnot. There's not too much motivation. I mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you've done everything else in the game, and this is the left to do, why not? Why not give it a go?
yeah, I've been really lucky to have the units that I have for TOA. Yeah, I have the perfect units for getting rank 1 TOA, so been pretty blessed with that.
Yeah. So let's
Two,
kind of. I will go ahead.
yeah, the 2 Zeros, and yeah, it's just really blessed.
Yep. And so that's what I was going to say. Let's kind of get into that now. I'm going to be pulling up the units. I mean, I'll go through the units as we go, but why don't we talk about TOA speed run kind of strategy, so to speak? When it comes to arena and whatnot, there's a lot of people that will argue you need certain units. Other people will say you need certain runes, and you build those runes. You take those runes and build it around the units you have to progress well. And then some other people say that it's a kind of a mix of both. You really can't excel to where you need to be unless you have key units to help you clear stuff quicker, right? There's many ways to do it, but in order to do it fast, you have to have particular units. So what's your take on the whole speed run strategy? What's your way of doing it?
I do agree with that. Where to do the TOA speedrun, you actually do have to have the correct units, and you do have to have the runes too. But the correct units, you need some insane AOE damage dealers like Tashard and Zeros, and I think those are some of the key ones. A few Lucians, and Galleon is one of the biggest. I don't think that anybody can really get rank 1 on TOA without Galleon. I don't think it's possible. I mean, it could be, but Galleon's a huge help in that part.
Gotcha. And so with respect to starting it off, right? I mean, for everybody that has been playing for the game for quite some time, those first 60 to 70, 80 stages, for the most part, you guys are just straight autoing with like a basic YOLO comp. Some people mix it up, halfway through. Some people take a team that will take them all the way up into the 90s and maybe change it up a little bit for the bosses, depending on what bosses you run into or what, stages of the game. But, for the most part, is it just pretty much take 4 basic AOE units? I see some people taking all 5. I see some people taking 4. What's the whole strategy behind that? Do you know why they mix it up like that?
For me personally, I actually manualed it throughout the entire way from level 1, from stage 1. I just used Raki. So I would just... She's got that 2-turn cooldown AoE defense break. So I just spammed that throughout the entire first 10, 15 stages, and she'll clear every single wave just about. And if she doesn't, then I have 2 Lucians for backup to clean up. And it's so much faster than if you auto and your Lucian auto attacks and your other Lucian auto attacks instead of amping right away. So it's actually faster for the beginning stages to manual it. Right. If you have a AOE.
And I would imagine that you got to kind of manage those AOE skills or whatnot, so that you don't. If you auto it, you might find yourself for when you start getting into mid to late stages, you might find yourself wasting an amp on 2 stages, 2 amps on a stage or something like that, and that would definitely, you'd lose value in trying to progress forward as speedy. So I get that. I'm trying to think here. As far as the manualing aspect of what you do, the team that you take, um, do you make any big changes moving into the last 50 stages or whatnot, or do you keep the same team all the way through?
Oh yeah, I don't put in my Zeros until around stage 50. For the first uh for the first 50 stages, I have Raki and two Lucians, and I think that's about it. And then I add in Galleon around. Actually, when I was watching my video, I should not even have put Galleon in yet until around stage 60. But yeah, I start adding Zeros around stage 40, 50. And then later on, I have five monsters that I put in around stage 50. I have to, it's a certain rotation that I use. I just use Galleon uh, to buff and defense break. And then I use Raki as the backup defense breaker. And after that, my two Zeros goes, and then my Lucian for the cleanup. So that's my rotation throughout
Gotcha.
throughout. That's what I use for floor 50 to 99. I use the exact same comp.
Gotcha. And so let's kind of get into that with regards to the topic of using a Zyros versus not using a Zyros in the early stages. One would think, oh, why not use the Zyros? Right, he's good to have that attack leader to give you the damage that you need to kind of make it forward. But it seems like because the stages are so easy, I would imagine that the amount of damage that you do on these units does not require the attack leading skill to still basically one shot the units. Is that kind of correct, or am I
Oh
off
no,
here?
no. The only reason why I'm not using Zeros is because of the animations. That's really the reason why. Because the animations early on in the early stages is actually what's going to be putting you ahead of other people. I've actually thought about ruining my Lucian's full fatal with almost no crit, with 15 to 20% crit, just so that it'll skip the crit animations. Because if you really add up all these seconds that uh, the animation is going on, you can actually take off minutes off of your. Uh, once you at level 50, you probably took off like 2 or 3 minutes off of your runs.
Gotcha.
So that's actually a big deal.
And that's what I was thinking. Like I personally thought that was a one thing that you could do to reduce crit animations, but doesn't it kind of negate itself if you're still using Lucians that are based off of crit damage? You're still going to have the crit animation. Or are you just trying to reduce it just ever so slightly? Is that what
Uh,
you're doing? Because I mean, you didn't have Zyros in, but you had the Lucians with the crit animation, so you're still going to have the issue with the crit, right?
oh, these these Lucians right now that I'm using, they're runed differently from the TOA Lucians. I normally have one Lucian that's full rage and 70-80% crit, and then the other Lucian is actually a Lucian with full attack with 20-25 crit and around 2500 attack,
Gotcha,
around plus 2500 attack.
gotcha. So
That's
you,
the one that I use for the early stages.
I was gonna say I should have known better that you mix and match those runes when it comes to certain stages of the game or whatever you're trying to do, because you definitely you definitely love to play around with a little rune shuffling. Rune removal day is like every day for you, right?
Oh
You love to
yeah,
play around with it. That's crazy.
that's yeah. It's ridiculous how much I've spent on just rune changing, just moving runes around.
Yeah,
I do that way too much.
gotcha. And
Oh
then
yeah, and in my Raki, when I'm using her for TLA, she's actually built um, with accuracy. So she's actually got 100% accuracy. So
gotcha,
she's attack, crit damage, and accuracy on Swift around 70 plus speed. So she goes before the Zeros. So that's how I normally have her rune for TOA rush.
gotcha. And that makes sense. You want to have her if you're gonna use her as a son of backup support to Galleon as far as the defense break. You want her to go before your damages. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Cool. And so moving on to those last few stages, I mean, like you stated, you already, you do everything pretty much manual, which is something that a lot of people don't do. They generally use kind of like an auto-based format. Any kind of tips or tricks for anybody on those? We all can really do exceptionally well those first, 3 quarters of the thing, but then it comes down to those last few stages that people generally make mistakes. You've obviously got quite of experience with the TOA, and you've probably seen a couple of people out there that have rushed maybe on stream or whatnot. What's the one common thing that you think that either yourself or maybe somebody else, the common mistakes that people make when trying to get make those speedy runs those last few stages, as far as trying to reduce the amount of errors they have.
Um, I don't see too many. I can't think of too many mistakes, but I could think of things that would add on to that would benefit them, and that's if they have Raki or Avnot. Like there's no other monster in the game that has a 2-turn AOE defense break. So use that to your advantage. That's that's one of the best. Yeah, those two monsters are two of the best 2A monsters in my opinion, because of the 2-turn AOE defense break that they can use every wave. That's the only thing that I see other people that are not doing that could help them. But other than that, I can't really think of too many things. I think that's like the only reason why I probably was rank 1 because I used that tactic.
Right on. Cool. So I'm gonna have to take some notes on that next time if I ever get an opportunity to do TOA if I don't fall asleep first. But thank you for the insight. What we're gonna go ahead and do is we'll take a little short break so we can cut into our rifting aspect. So we'll be right back, guys. Okay, so we're back once again. We got ourselves Fwa, and then of course we got a special guest over here, Mr. Pandopedia, aka Pando. If you guys didn't know, he did a recent Educate and Dominate in the past, so he's helping us out with this R5 running. So, Fwa, we got to get it out there, man. When it comes to a lot of the people out there that are really bringing some unique teams to the game, to this world of rifting, you're definitely one of the top dogs that get mentioned. Extremely famous for your solo healing comp or whatnot. Now,
Here's when I
obviously,
wipe.
obviously, this solo healing comp is not doing too hot right now, but we're getting that, we're fine tuning that composition right now. So let's talk about, I guess, what motivated you to really push the envelope as far as bringing certain units to the table.
I just knew that I could do it, and uh, it just, I mean, at the time, it seemed impossible, but I think it's one of the biggest things I like to do, just proving that something that is impossible is actually possible to do. But right now, I guess this is a really bad example. But uh, yes, solo healing. I just have my Chasun. Uh, yeah, you can look at my Chasun stats, and then she's got about 40k. She's got about 40k HP, about 1100 defense, and 214 speed. And I think what allows me to do the solo healing is typically the attack break is usually up because I have Ardella and Bethany in there to do the attack breaks, and I have Hua with pretty high resistance and decent speed. She's always pushing the attack bar down of the boss, and then I have Lisa too with really high resistance. 230-ish speed. I think that's actually what makes it successful. I did just remove a rune from my Hua to Stella so that it can make my dragons run faster. So she lost about 12 speed. I wonder if that's why I'm wiping. Yep,
Those are
this should
wonderful.
work. The only reason why I think I died was somehow the attack break didn't get up on the second part of his HP.
Yeah, and that's the one thing to really mention too. So you obviously, I mean, we'll kind of showcase it right here. We'll show the comps, the units, and the runes and whatnot. When building a composition like this, there's a lot of things that come into play. I think first and foremost is when we think about the rifting world. A lot of people are so focused on what they can bring to the table, but in this particular aspect, you still have to have the balance of certain type of hostile effects and whatnot, across the board, and you've been able to make that happen with respect to a couple of different units that we'll be showcasing for you today. But at the end of the day, if you don't work with the people that you bring, there's no way that anybody, even yourself, could do what you're trying to do. Right? There has to be some kind of a balance with regards to support and DPS.
Oh yeah, there has to be a good amount of attack break and heal block, especially heal block. To me, I put heal block and attack break on the same level of importance. I might even put heal block above attack break, to be honest. And here's the reason why. It's because if you miss out on the heal block, yeah, you might die in that moment when the heal block is not up and the boss is attacking you. But if you miss the heal blocks, or if there's not a consistent heal block, you will die in the last 25% of his HP, because he's going to be way stronger than what he typically is. So if you miss a heal block, you're going to die, but it's going to be later on. But if you miss the attack breaks, you're going to die, but in that moment. So to me, that's how I see it.
Gotcha. And with regards to Chusoon, a lot of people will look at your comp and be like, oh, why not Colleen, or why not somebody else that does some brings a different kind of kit to the table to provide you more stuff. But I feel like when you run a YOLO based kind of comp like this, you kind of need to have a flat like a flat heal type of a unit that's going to provide you a good amount of heal. I mean, 25% of a 17K unit or whatever. It's not really going to add, that much to the table, regardless if you have Darien or not. Am I correct in that, or I got that wrong?
Yeah, you need a healer that's gonna heal, because she's healing about 70% of my other monster's HP.
Right.
So I think that's how it's working right now. Her heals is about 11K ish or 10K. So that's over 50% of most of my monster's HP. So, I'm not sure if Bella might work. I think Bella would work, but he'll have to be paired up with Colleen. But yeah, you need a really, I mean,
shout out to Jubik
sure.
there one time trying to get a raid, trying to get a raid there, bro. He wants to do a little raid level 4. Yeah, I can't. Sorry, my man, I can't do it. But we'll have to give him a hard time about that later. Good timing, good timing. So, as far as the units that you use to bring to the table, again, there's going to be a lot of these units that we're going to talk about in our underrated and overlooked kind of group of units. But I think the one thing that you definitely have been widely known for now is really kind of bringing Ardella out of the woodworks. All the archers, but more importantly, Ardella out of the woodworks, since that's one of the more common units that people are using out there. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of went on to experimenting on that and how you find that valuable.
Oh yeah, I think it's just when I looked at her kit, and to me it just made sense that, well, this monster could be one of the best. Like, how is anybody not seeing this? Like, to me it just clicked in my head because of her attack. I mean, her first default attack, it adds on attack break. I think I learned that from watching YDCB's rating video at that one time, and then when I saw that, I looked into the magical archers and what their actual debuffs are for the monsters that they attack. So I had to do a little bit of research on that, and then I learned that all the magical archers does attack break to neutral elements. So it's attack break, and her default attack also multiplies by 15% for every debuff on the boss. So it's going to be doing 70 to 80, 90% more damage than it should. So that right there is just a huge multiplier. So so that's like almost like a 600 to 700% multiplier on your attack power. So to me, that just what better damage to do, what better one unit can be put in raid than this unit, and I can't really think of any other better units for raiding than this one.
Yeah, considering the hostile effect that it brings, one of the top, hostile effects that needs to be on, especially if you're trying to get after that third jump. So, so now let's get to the naysayers, right? The naysayers will say, you know what? I like your idea of Ardella. That's a great unit. Let's go and incorporate that. But you know what? We can't really make it work for us because the rune requirement just seems to be too much of it, considering its base HP and whatnot. So, what's your take on it? Is there a specific, how do I say this? Is there a specific kind of benchmark that we should shoot for as far as the hit points and the defense? I mean, obviously yours is set up the way you have it due to your runes, but I'm sure you've done a lot of testing with other players in
Mm-hmm.
addition to your runes. What do you recommend to the people out there that have a Bethany or an Ardella or a Chris and they're trying to get certain stats for them?
Yeah, pretty much you have to get around 18 to 19k HP and then around 800 or 900 defense. And you should be able to survive R5 if you have a DS or Darien. Um, and two healers. You should be able to survive it pretty easily. Um, that's pretty much all that you have to focus on. And then once you get that, you could add on to attack or crit rate or speed or resist or whatever you want. For me, I find it that I really like Ardella on resist, at least 30 to 40% resist. And yeah, that's pretty much how you build Ardella. Even if she has really awful runes, let's say she's got 18k HP, 800 defense, and like plus 100 attack and plus 10 speed, she's still going to be putting out a lot more damage than almost any of your other units, just because her default attack is just multiplying by so much that it's just ridiculous how much damage she's going to do. So you don't need that special of runes to make her work, but having really amazing runes will make it work a lot better, but it isn't it's not needed to make it work, I guess. She'll still work great with crappy runes,
Gotcha. Cool.
but she
And
has to just survive.
so should we kind of stay on the same concept as far as if we can bring the violence so we can have the opportunity to proc out of the stuns, or do you say do whatever you got to do to get the stats that you need?
Violent, in my opinion, is a high recommendation, but if you can't, then a Swift could work, Vampire could work, as long as you have enough speed. But because for Violent, you don't really need too much speed, like 20, 30 speed. It'll work. But for the other set, I mean, you want to have typically Revenge. That's what it is probably preferred, so that you're just gonna have that chance of revenging as the boss flies, then you put on the attack brake as he's landing. So if that happens, it's almost a guaranteed win if it's on the last 25% of his HP. So that's why I like revenge on her. And then, but if you can't get those stats with those rune sets, then just put in whatever you can. But the main part is the 18, 19k HP and 800, 900 defense. That's what you have to aim for.
Gotcha. And with regards to some of the units that are currently not in your lineup, like this has kind of been your go-to lineup as far as of that solo heal composition, but there's obviously been a couple of units that you've kind of mixed and matched up there. What are some of the ones that depending on what you need as far as hostile effects, what are some of the ones that you'd like to bring in as a substitute for this particular comp?
Oh man, my team it lacks heal block so much. So I've been trying to experiment with a few monsters with heal blocks. I experimented with Lucian's because Lucian actually has 100% heal block. And then I experimented with the Wind Anubis. He's got the heal block and then the branding in his second skill, but he's just horrible because he's going to miss his debuffs so much, like 50 to 60% of the time he's going to miss his debuff. Even with 90% accuracy, you're still going to miss your debuffs. So that come to us will have to fix, kind of like the buff that they did with the assassins. They're probably going to have to do that with the Anubises. And yeah, the Anubis has potential to be really good for raids, but yeah, right now they're just they're just annoying because of
Mm-hmm.
the amount of times that they miss the debuffs.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame because I was sitting there wondering if this recent patch that we just got, they were actually going to do something about it. And go figure, the one unit out there that, for me, I thought was doing already kind of good. Once you max heal it out, the Water Assassin Stella just got another buff that just turned it up a whole notch. Like now, it's one of those things where, considering its kit, it's almost like a must, use unit if you can, get the runes on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's amazing. Stella is amazing. She's probably one of my favorite new toys and new favorite monsters that I 6-starred.
Yep. And I was going to
Yeah.
say, one of the things that you've kind of incorporated that I think a lot of people are starting to do. I know that Caranther has been doing a little bit with one of his buddies in Dragons B10. You're starting to incorporate into various dungeons to kind of help your speed YOLO teams out, working with Estella now. So it's been kind of fun to see you guys play around with that in different aspects of the game. So
Yeah, she's great. One of the reasons why is because of her animations. That's pretty much one of the best reasons why she's great. She's got a really fast animation,
yeah,
and
it's a pretty good unit. I'm digging it. I have one too, but mine is not. We're not even gonna look. We're not even gonna look at mine because mine doesn't compare to you. We'll have to dust yours off here one of these chances that we get. So hopefully we can get this fight underway. I know we're a little bit low on health here, but I think we'll be able to make it work.
yep, I
And look,
got lucky right there.
yeah, I know. I was gonna say I think Pando, we must have missed an attack break somewhere. Pando took it hard there. That's okay.
And
So, Kona's OP, so she does the solo there.
yeah, but one of the best units that I am missing is Diaz. If I had a Diaz, my comp would be just about perfect. If I had a Diaz for Darien, and then if I had um, Stella in for Ardella or Bethany, I would have every debuff in that's good for the boss, even branding. But right now I'm really lacking on heal block. But that's why I tend to depend on my teammates who have Diaz or Death Knights, and yeah.
Right, and that's probably the weirdest thing. I had to get used to it. I know a lot of my guildies do, and we'll kind of throw it out there because I know a lot of people will be like, "Well, gosh, I've raided with fraud, and this can be kind of a pain to set up." Well, um, it kind of is the way that it is. Is I kind of address the elephant in the room, right? If you ever get an opportunity to raid with somebody like yourself that sets up their team in the way that you do in an effort to do like some maximum damage, generally speaking, like we were saying before, they're going to be setting up their other teams to help around with the support, make sure they cover a couple of the heal blocks and whatnot, make sure we got all our bases covered so that we can get those debuffs on and make sure that you're doing the maximum damage. Some people will argue, well, if I'm setting myself up the way that I am, I'm not going to put out enough damage. But unfortunately, it is what it is. When I say right now is that they're better off sometimes setting it up to fine tune your strengths because the amount of damage that you do when things are set up the way you want it to be set up is way more damage than it would be if you were adding support and they were adding support and damage.
Yep,
Do I
pretty
say it
much.
correct?
That's pretty much
it's
why.
it's
Yeah,
kind of it's
that's
kind
pretty
of
much
hard to
how it works.
swallow, but it is what it is. I mean it's if you ever raided with Fwa, it's undoubtedly way faster. It's to the point where now I just log in with Fwa and I'll be like, all right, dude, what do you want me to put in, man? I'm done. Actually, we'll get a laugh out right now. This Diaz right here, I wasn't even gonna build mine because I was doing fine with Darien and whatever else. I was like, no, man, we need Hill block. You got Diaz?
Yep.
Build your Diaz, punk. What's wrong with you? Get that Diaz out. A little salty because he didn't have no Diaz. I got something he don't have, so I'm a little excited. But
Yeah,
it's
man.
crazy. But yeah, it's helped out. Even most notably, I don't even have the skills max, and it's been helping out with the heal block, so it's good.
Yeah, that's all that I really need, to be honest. I just need one or two other Death Knights in the raid, and then it should be pretty successful for the most part. Not this run, maybe, but hopefully. But yeah, it should be pretty successful if there's some heal blocks. That's all that my team is really lacking.
Yeah, it's all good. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else to add, with respect to level 5 rating or whatnot. I know that. It's going to be probably a while before we see the next dragon come on board, but just kind of speculation and whatnot. Any ideas of what you think it might be like? What do you think they're going to try to
Oh
incorporate into the
man,
next one?
it would be awesome if they had if the boss had a AOE skill reset. I would love to fight against a boss with AOE skill reset. Uh, like how the boss is right now. Let's say a boss had a 2-turn cooldown AOE reset. I would love to theory craft and just be able to overcome that. I would
Yeah,
love to
yeah.
theory craft something like that.
Now, unfortunately I was wrong on my guessment on this first boss. I actually was really looking at everything that they've brought to the game and forced us to use as far as new units and whatnot, and I was really hoping on them banking on units that would be able to we'd be able to capitalize on units that provided damage based on the enemy's max HP. It doesn't seem like it was with this one. It's not like an outstanding amount of HP or whatever, whatnot. But I'm hoping if they don't incorporate something like that, I'm hoping that we can get some value out of the destroy runes. Right now, the destroying runes are just collecting dust in my box. So I would love to see something along the lines where destroy runes can be incorporated in like a raid boss and make things easier. Something where like maybe the raid boss loses health and then he gets like after he dies he gets kind of almost like the necro where he gets like
hmm
a second health, but it's not as much. So if you want it to be reduced,
Yeah,
destroy his hit points or whatever, so it goes down a little bit quickly. So
yeah,
that'd be
maybe.
something I can work with.
Yeah, maybe having to kill him 5 times, and every time that he dies and reincarnates, he maybe has like a different element, and it's all randomized or random. I don't know, different skill sets. I don't know, something like that might be interesting. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, something like that might be interesting. But I mean, with destroy runes, I feel like they have to change it completely, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. But yeah, I had this idea. It's it, uh, of changing destroy runes to chance to ignore defense. So it'll be maybe 4% chance and then 8% and then 12% chance for 3 sets to ignore defense. That's just an idea that I had.
Yeah. Yep. And considering the amount of damage that you could do with the unit when you ignore defense, I don't think those percentages are too far off. So I like it. I
hmm
like it. So last but not least, is there anything you want to say out there to community with regards to just some tips and tricks to kind of help them progress? Maybe some of the things that they should focus on early on when coming into the rifting world.
Yeah, try to try to lose your actual buffers like Delphoy or
Yeah,
like like
this unit right
uh
here. Don't use
or,
Delphoy.
or like area or um especially what's the Blue Death Knight's name? Of Fedora.
Fedora.
Yeah,
Fedora.
because
Yep.
yep, the actual buffs don't make the boss stronger, but there's always gonna be that bad RNG where after the boss flies and then he lands and you don't get the heal block up on time, so he takes your buff and right there you just have you have to make up for about 10 of your turns or 10 15 turns right there. So and the boss is going to be stronger in the end. So try to lose the extra buffs if you can.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and get on into your units. So we're back once again, guys. We're gonna kind of get into the nuts and the bolts of the Educate and Dominate series, kind of talking about those underrated and overlooked units. As you guys know, that's generally one of the questions that I love to ask all my guests, as far as the underrated units and the runes. And again, like I said before, Fwa is definitely one of those people that have definitely tried so many different units and so many rune combinations. He reminds me of the Cole Steels and the Williams, out there, the Barians out there, before his time, really mixing and matching and doing the theory crafting. So I'm excited to bring this for you guys today. So, as far as the first unit that you want to kind of start out with, some of the unique units that people really don't know about that are definitely stronger than expected. What would you want to start off with?
Let's see. Oh, Vertihill. I guess we could look at Vertihill first. Like almost everybody builds Vertihill typically speed crit HP or speed crit in attack and violent or whatever, but I love my crit damage Vertihill. He does so much damage. In Guild War, he can do 40k with his second skill on defense break and attack buff. And in Dragons, he can actually kill one of the towers with his default attack. So that's what I actually aimed to do when I was building this Vertihill in the first place. And I actually succeeded, so I'm pretty happy about him.
And when you mean with the towers, you mean the crystals kind of like leading up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it kills the
That's
tower, baby, but that's an OP Vertigo you got right there. And so when we're on that concept of the dragons and whatnot, any other units with respect to the dragons B10 that kind of fall into place as far as some of the unique units that other people don't use. I know that you recently used Stella out
Oh
there,
yeah.
so a lot of people pretty much do kind of the same build you do, running the crit damage Stella whatnot. You've seen a lot of change for the better on this particular unit.
Yeah, I recommend higher crit rate, but that's the best I could get for her with because all the runes are going out to every other monsters too. So that's the best I could get for her, but high crit rate the better.
Right.
Yeah, she's really really good because in Dragon typically I'm running Galleon, so if Galleon doesn't land the defense break, I have Stella to as a backup defense break.
Right.
So that's why it works so well.
Cool. Cool. Alrighty. Which one? Let's see. Which one do you want to hit up next?
Oh yeah, let's do Raki. Raki, this is one of the builds I have for it, but before I actually had speed, HP, and HP, so she had about almost 30k HP with around the same defense, and I used her in Guild War offense to tank water monsters and to defense break and to stun, and she actually worked really well for that. But right now she's currently built for arena. But yeah, that was a really fun build that I had for her for a while.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And I was gonna say, with respect to Raki, a lot of people don't see it there, but for an attack-based unit, that base defense is not too shabby at all. So if you
Yeah,
get some nice speed, if you get some nice defense substats, you can mix and match here, do a little hybrid action on this one.
yeah. Chow right now I'm playing with a really speedy Chow, and then yeah. So I'm actually running him in my Guild War defense with Galleon and then Triton and then Chow, because not many people expect a Chow to be this fast and that tanky and do that much damage. So
Right.
let's see any unique builds.
We did talk a little bit about earlier about the Theomars. A couple of people are doing this. I know that Nox here kind of had the similar build. Definitely trying to go out of the way to get a little bit more of the HP on it, making it a little bit more tanky.
Oh yeah, he's really nice for Guild War offense. He's not as squishy as typically now, and he's still doing so much damage with that much attack.
Yeah. That was a great stats for the amount of HP you got for sure.
Yeah, I'm liking this deal a lot more than the full-on damage. Yeah, we'll see how he goes this week. This is the first time that I actually built him like this.
Gotcha. And speaking of builds, real quick, while you're thinking about some of the next units that you do, a lot of people will go back and forth as far as when you're getting to your level and really trying to optimize your units and whatnot. Some people say that the way to go to kind of help you out when you got 50,000 units of runes is to use a rune optimizer. If I remember correctly, you do everything on your own. You do it kind of manually, by your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I am pretty lucky with kind of a photographic memory, but I could remember where a lot of my runes are. Typically I know where a lot of my runes are, yeah. I'm really lucky that I don't have to use the rune optimizer. I can typically build the monster. I can typically have an idea for how I want to build a monster, and then I can typically just get all the runes and know where it is and just put it on.
Gotcha. And it looks like you did a little experimenting with the Win BK. Were you trying to use that one for the branding early on? I see that you maxed it out.
Oh yeah, I was using him for. I was experimenting him in AO, and in a. Let me think. Let's see. Yeah, and I tried him for raids for a bit, only for like a little while. He worked okay, but he just didn't provide anything else besides the branding. He needed at least like defense break or attack break or something, but if that's all that he really offers, then it's not good enough for me.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully
But
they.
but
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
but the light Barbaric King, I like his kit just because of the attack bar reduction. It can be extremely clutch sometimes in raids. Yeah, so he's got the branding and the attack bar reduction to 0. Let's see.
Gotcha. And with respect to Triton, and considering that you know, it's definitely a top unit out there for your speed clearing AO whatnot, do you feel that there's any really additional build that could be done with regards to this particular unit? It seems like the standard build for Triton is kind of like a despair will format.
There's another build I wanted to try. I mean, Despair Nemesis. So mainly for AD or Guild War defense. So the idea is when they nuke you down, or even if a Leo team comes up against you, because my Orion's on Will Runes, so they might attack my Leo and then triggers his Nemesis, and then he moves first and then he uses his third skill and then stuns a couple of them or something. I've been meaning to try that.
Gotcha.
And yeah, if they bring Lucians and the Lucian uses amp, and if he goes and if he doesn't die, and then he's gonna die with those stats. But if he doesn't go, if he goes and he uses his third skill or second skill, he can stun a few of them, and that can be really good.
Gotcha. And with regards to one of these rare units out there, the Light Pioneer Nagong, you know, I remember when you pulled that one. I don't know if you actually really got a lot of time testing into it or whatnot, but I do see. I thought I saw a skill up in here. Maybe I didn't. I thought you were going to work on it. But what was your initial thoughts on this particular unit? Do you find it viable into the game today, like as far as what you're trying to accomplish?
I think it could be because, oh man, his base stats are just insane. Like that's one of the best base stats in the whole game. I think down the road with better runes, he's going to be really good. And with a lot of skill ups, I think he could be really annoying if he's on, because I know Scat had his on Nemesis. Double Nemesis and Will. So if he gets amped or if he gets damaged in some way, he's gonna go first. So, and then he's gonna use his third skill, and yeah, after people, if one of your party members dies, they will get res with their attack bar, with their current attack bar, before they died. So that's one of the really nice things about this, about his third skill.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot more testing once he's max skilled.
Gotcha. And with regards to some of these light and dark units out there, I do remember you testing out with regards to your YOLO teams, playing around with a little bit of the Lynette unit. I know a lot of people, you know, use it initially for Necro, then kind of put it on the sidelines. But it seems that, you know, when you were playing around with providing the damage that you wanted, the heal block that you wanted, and then having that, you know, secondary kind of a heal, you know, with attack damage or whatnot, it seemed to kind of play a decent role in your composition. I mean, obviously the archers do more damage over time, but for some people that were looking for the kind of that hybrid unit, it seems like that was kind of a good fit for you for a while.
Yeah, she's amazing. The only reason why I'm not really using her is because I don't have the right build for her yet. I mean, because she's not tanky enough.
Sure.
She's kind of tanky, but sometimes she dies, and And the attack breaks from Ardella and Bethany is just too big to, let's see. And for whatever reason, whenever I'm using Ardella and Bethany, I actually have a lower chance of wiping than when I'm using Lynette. I'm not 100% sure why, but
Yep.
yeah, that's the results of my tests.
And speaking of testing, one of the units that you did do way back in the day, when Trevor came out, you played around with a hybrid format here, trying to maximize on his passive and making him in like I think it was what like an attack crit damage. Was it defense or did you go with HP?
Oh, he was defense, crit damage, and HP, so he was
Oh,
full on tank.
right, right, right. And kind of
Uh,
explain your thought process now. When people look at that and they're like, well, why are you why are you going that route? What's the big deal with that? What did you figure out with regards to your testing in this particular unit and its damage?
I mean, pretty much my thought process is he's still doing so much damage. I mean, if you put on attack, it just overkill. So why not use him as a water tank, or why not use him to tank in Guild Wars? And yeah, he worked really well. I mean, he was amazing Camilla tank. He was amazing Taor tank. He yeah, until one day I got one shotted by Camilla, and then I got pretty sad and I took his runes off. But before that, he worked amazing. Um, let's see. He was still doing about 30 to 40k, even with HP, crit damage, and defense. I think I still had about 700 attack on him with those runes. So,
Nice.
yeah, he was still doing that much damage.
Gotcha. And I think I pretty much covered all the ones that I was kind of looking at initially. Was there any units that you wanted to kind of discuss? I know that unfortunately the 3-star lower arena hasn't come out yet. I know you were going to be playing around with this particular unit. Probably when it comes on out. But any ones that you kind of want to discuss?
Oh, I was actually gonna use him in Guild War defense, but his base stats are just way too horrible. I that's I don't know. I feel like that's one thing that Come2Us need to kind of fix in a way, because with the runes that we have now, there's just so much HP and defense multiplying because of all the grindstones. So yeah, it's making all the low stat monsters becoming irrelevant pretty much. So until the 3-star arena comes out, but I wish I could use him for Guild War defense because his kit is so nice.
Yep. I
But his
like it.
defense is just horrible.
I bet it gets dusted off for that 3-star lower arena. I think it's going to be nice. AoE defense break. There's not a lot of units that do that. Oh, speaking of which, let's talk about that latest and greatest unit update, right?
Oh yeah,
We were just talking about that
that's
on the side.
that's
Actually,
gonna
I
be
give a
fun.
shout out to my subscriber. I had one subscriber that called me out. He's like, "Dude, did you even look at the Dark Serpents, bro?" And I'm like, "I did.
Mm.
I just didn't see it like with the current as it stands today. I just didn't see it like being a game changing thing. I was looking at the ones that were really going to impact the mid to late game players. But Fwa would agree with you, sir, that this unit can be something of the sort. Depending
Oh,
on
he's gonna be amazing. Like once a patch hits, this monster is gonna be able to do 3 AOE's in a row. So his second skill, that's gonna turn into an AOE, and once it's max skilled, it becomes 2-turn cooldown. And his third skill is gonna turn into I think a 3-turn cooldown. I don't remember,
I
maybe
think it's
4, but
yeah, I think it's 3 or 4, but it's 100% defense.
it's gonna be 100% defense break. So if you have him on despair, you can actually use his second skill, and then his third skill, the AOE defense break, and then his second skill again, and that's gonna be some insane stun potential. Let's see what else. Yeah, that. There's no other monster in the game that I could think of that's able to do 3-turn AOE's in a 3 turns AOE in a row. He's gonna be the first that I could think of.
Yeah, buddy.
And there's only two net 3 and under that has a 100% defense break right now, 2-turn defense break, and that's the Dark Penguin and the this guy now in the
Right,
next
right.
patch.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be great. Let me see here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we wanted to put out there as far as the underrated and overlooked units, but if you can't think of anything already, I definitely wanted to hop into that, to the topic of things to change. You know, we've always seen a lot of things, and that's we got to give a shout out to Comtos real quick. They've definitely gone out of the way to listen to the community and make a lot of changes. But as you have already stated in prior things and whatnot, that there's still a lot more things to change. So if you had a couple of things that you currently wanted to change for the better in this particular game, what would it be and why?
Oh man, the the number one thing that I've been talking about from the beginning is being able to set up your skill priorities on your monster. So let's say you go to your monster's skill list, right? And then let's say if there's an option for you to uh, where there's gonna be an arrow next to each skill, and you could click on to move up or move down. So it'll be 1 through 5, and the default setting would be set to 3 for, so it'll be 30% for each skill, right? So if you click on the down arrow, 1 would be the being used the least, and 5 would be for your for your AI to use that skill a lot more often. So if they could somehow add that to the game, that would just that would make the game so much better. Instead of having to go into arena battle and hoping that they derp. I mean, yeah, hoping that they derp, or doing your dragon run. Like I'm almost 100% positive that I could do like a 30 to 40 second dragon run if I could control my AI. Yeah, if I could control my AIs.
If I could throw it right, that's why it's artificial, right? Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man, cool. Anything else that you would want to change?
Let me see. Just the base stats of all the monsters. So, and changing that's not even, that's actually gonna make it better for the whole community, and that's actually make more money for Come to Us, because uh, so many people will make 6-star monsters that they wouldn't make because of the dying meta of the 3 or 4 or 2-star monsters with the low base stats. Because yeah, I would love to 6-star some. Let's see, a lot of monsters, a lot of net 3s, a lot of net 2s that want a 6-star.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully they do something with that, so we can see some changes, see some people dust off some other units out of the woodwork here. But yeah, thank you so much for that insight, man. I'm looking forward to see what things change along the way and what units that you bring to the table. Um, we're kind of winding down to the end of the video there. I want to give you the opportunity to do any shout outs that you want to do for your fans and the community.
Man, just all the people that's watching my stream, thank you guys for supporting, and let's see, man, our guild, the Epic Fail community. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. It's been a crazy ride.
Quite the ride, sir. Quite the ride, but we're still kicking.
Yeah. Yeah, all the people in Channel 65. Burke, man, I wish Burke would come back. That guy he's one of the coolest guys that I met in Summoner's War, and he was actually one of the guys that I experimented with the raids when it first came out. We would, I think I remember on Christmas, we actually stayed up until like 9 in the morning, just changing all of our runes. I must have spent at least 5 mil changing all of my runes around to find out what works and what doesn't work in raids.
Mm-hmm.
And he did almost the same thing too. Him and Cletus. Yeah, shout out to them. Who else? Barry and Scat. Yeah.
Right on. Sounds good. Thank you so much. And then again, guys, as you guys can see on the top right corner, we're gonna have ourselves the link for you twitch.tv/FWA with an underscore. Make sure y'all tune into that, follow him, and give him a sub. If you could do it for me, I'd appreciate it. Again, FWA, thank you so much for coming on board. I know that we've just like our last couple of guests, it's been bouncing back and forth trying to find that perfect time to work. So I'm glad that we were able to get it together and get this content out there for the community. So thank you again for coming on board.
Yeah, no problem. It's been fun.
All right, guys. Well, that is it. Thank you all for tuning in. It's a pleasure to make these videos for you. As always, it's your boy Childish and FWA with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we will see you next time, guys. We're out.